big thing to sever ties and to turn our next door neighbours into a competitor. Most of us have got friends and relations north and south of the border. We've achieved a lot together in good times and bad, and I don't want to give that up.
People still go to visit their granny in Newcastle and vice versa. All of that social unity in these islands will continue. The thing that will change is the ability of Westminster government to make decisions for Scotland, and frankly I won't miss that at all.
In the last few weeks, things have become rather too heated. Of course, both sides have passionately held views, and that's how it should be. But on occasions, people have overstepped the mark, and I don't want to live in a country where people are frightened to speak out, who are frightened to express their views. There's honest differences of opinions here. I think the majority of people in Scotland will accept the verdict, and that's how it should be.
I think we're engaged in a wonderful debate in Scotland, which is energising and empowering people who've never been interested in politics before, and we're doing it in an impeccable, peaceful, democratic fashion, and I think that's a wonderful thing for us to do.
Look, I don't think anyone would argue that Scotland couldn't be successful. I just think it would be less successful if we leave the UK, because so many jobs depend upon it. Take Standard Life. They have said today, if there's a yes vote, they're going to move their business south of the border. That's bad for Edinburgh, where I live. It's bad for Scotland. We don't have to take these risks. And yet the verdict from employers, not me, from employers is damning. Jobs are at risk if we vote yes. And I just don't think people want that.
Well, let me contest that. I think it's really highly irresponsible of politicians to start talking about what the markets are doing. I mean, I heard on Monday, for example, campaigners for no saying, oh, look at all the Scottish shares down. But yesterday, all these shares went up again against the declining market. And instead of trying to take advantage of unsettled markets, the Chancellor of the Exchequer should be behaving like a responsible politician and saying, look, in the aftermath of the referendum, two things will happen. One, the Bank of England will still be in charge of financial stability, as the Governor has said, for as long as it takes to set up the new arrangements. And secondly, of course, that after the vote we'll sit down in cooperation and partnership, accepting the verdict of the people and talking on that basis.
Already in the pipeline are powers for the Scottish Parliament to have control over stamp duty. It can borrow if it wants to spend more money on building schools and hospitals, and it's got to fix an income tax rate. On top of that, all three non-nationalist parties have promised more powers in relation to tax, in relation to welfare, including the power to get rid of the bedroom tax, as well as measures to help people get into work. Now, all those things mean you have a Scottish Parliament with more power than many of the federal governments you see around Europe. But at the same time, what you get is the security and strength of being part of the United Kingdom for payment of pensions, funding of the NHS, for example. That's very, very important. These additional powers were announced several weeks ago by the various parties, and people will have seen what they are. What has now been signed up to is a timetable, because people have said, look, these plans need, they're not quite the same. We want to see a timetable. So there is a very tight programme to bring them all together to get a piece of legislation. And the advantage of it is you can do something faster, because if you break up the UK, you've got years of wrangling in front of you. You can do it in a more secure way, because we don't take the risks of independence. And it's also fairer. You create the opportunity to create a better place to live, a fairer society.
Well, Mark Carney has done no such thing. He's made it absolutely clear that he will do whatever is agreed between the politicians. That's what the Bank of England is there to do. Why am I so confident that we'll keep the pound? Well, for two reasons. One, because it's in the best interest of Scotland and the rest of the United Kingdom. So a common sense agreement on a common currency is the best thing to do. But obviously there was the fairly dramatic admission from Alistair Darling in the second BBC debate, where he said, of course Scotland can keep the pound, making the rather obvious point that nobody can stop you using an internationally tradable currency. It's not within the gift of Westminster politicians to say no to that. This referendum is a consented democratic process. It was established by agreement between myself as First Minister of Scotland and the Prime Minister David Cameron. we've signed the Edinburgh Agreement. Clause 30 of that agreement says, look, both governments will accept the result, whatever it may be, and then both governments, crucially, will continue to work in the best interests of the people of Scotland and the rest of the United Kingdom. And I think if politicians on both sides would just accord to that clause 30 of the Edinburgh Agreement, then perhaps all this talk about crisis and uncertainty would dissipate, and we'd allow people to express their democratic choice in a proper manner.
I think it's important when we get the result sometime on Friday morning that we accept it. I hope and believe there will be a no vote and that we will start seeing change coming, change that people want within the United Kingdom without the risks of separation. But whatever the result, you know, I'm Scottish, I live here, and I will do my best, I hope with everybody else, to make things work.
After a yes vote, there's only one campaign, and that'll be Team Scotland. And that means we have to invite the people from the no campaign to be part of the negotiating team to have the best possible settlement for an independent Scotland. And in doing that, of course, we'll make it clear that the days of campaigning are over and the days of Team Scotland will begin.